Okay, YouTube, I don't know how long it's going to take for me to put this up after I record it, but I decided I should probably do what a lot of other trans people do and kind of catalog their stuff. I 2 days ago got out of surgery for I was pregnant, and originally it was going to be an elective C-section regardless. And it turns out that I had a complete placenta previa accreta, which means that my placenta decided to fuse to my uterus scar from my previous C-section. My first child was an elective C-section about 5 years ago. I say about because my kid's almost 6. And it turns out that means, I had to get a full hysterectomy. Well, not full. I chose to keep my ovaries. And I'll explain why later. So, I did that. Originally, I was going to have to probably fuss around with insurance to get them to approve it, since it would initially have been for my transition. But even though I'm upset that my body screwed up so bad and it could have risked mine and my baby's life, I'm also glad it happened at all. And I am 2 days recovering. I could walk around by the end of the first day. And the pain wasn't too bad for me afterwards. There were a few times in the first 12 to 16 hours where I would get excruciating bouts of pain, but then they would subside. I was on 2 pills of Norco as often as possible. I was also taking Motrin. I had a lot of IVs beforehand that were to help with the pain until my stomach had calmed down so I could keep down even water so that I could actually take pills. So the recovery so far has been, for the first little bit, painful, but very quickly gotten better. So for anybody else who's getting a hysterectomy, might not be the same for you if you don't also have the pregnancy going on when the removal happens. So, it might still be a little different, but for any trans dudes who go to get a hysterectomy at the same time as a C-section, this might be good information. I also had a great team of doctors and a great team of nurses that are still helping me out while my son and I are still here. I went to Camellia Women's Health in Carmichael, California, for my prenatal appointments, and they are absolutely, totally pro-trans. They do misgender sometimes, but it's nothing intentional. You got to think they work with pregnant women. You get a pregnant man in the mix, sometimes they're going to slip up. They're used to just female pronouns. So there was never any malice of intent. It was purely just they're used to dealing with women. And so, originally, when I got my C-section done, November 2012, I had it done by surgeon Dr. Burkholter. She remembered me even all these years later just by seeing my name, so that was pretty cool. This time, my C-section and the subsequent hysterectomy were done by Dr. Holbrook, who, both of them, Holbrook slipped up like once or twice in the very beginning when I met her, and that was it. Since then, almost everybody's been, completely cool. Obviously the occasional slip-ups. Apparently one of the doctors that was helping me prep for surgery got a little annoyed when my mom also corrected her, but I think that's just because that's pretty stressful to constantly have correction, but she could not get the hang of it and kept calling me female terms. So, it happens, but it doesn't damper the fact that both the women's care I went to and the hospital I'm at now, which is Mercy San Juan in Carmichael, everybody's been completely cool. Very respectful of my pronouns, even if they do accidentally slip up. Once they got the hang of calling me dad instead of mom, hasn't been a problem there. So any trans dudes who are, pregnant in Sacramento, I really suggest Camellia Women's Health, and I really suggest Mercy San Juan for the delivery, whether it be natural birth or C-section. So, yeah, I will probably update at some point with my recovery for the night after a week, after a month, stuff like that. The reason I kept my ovaries, like I mentioned earlier, is I don't want to be on testosterone my entire life. If you know anything about hormone production, you need some sort of natural hormone production in your body, or to be constantly taking a supplement, or your bone density will diminish over time. This is why a lot of people on menopause sometimes have to take estrogen supplements after menopause is finished doing its initial thing, because you can get brittle bones. Since I don't want to be on testosterone my entire life, I decided to keep my ovaries so I still have a regular source until I hit menopause. At that point, I'll kind of decide what to do from there, dependent on how my body reacts to post-menopausal stuff. So yeah, that's why I kept my ovaries. I have my hysterectomy. I unfortunately lost my cervix because my placenta also fused to my cervix. The reason that's unfortunate for me is I don't know what kind of orgasms I have. You can have orgasm from your uterus, from your cervix, or from the vagina itself. Everybody's a little different. I don't know what kind I have. I'm hoping it's not a cervical orgasm, because if so, I may never be able to orgasm again, and honestly, I've learned to like my vagina. I've learned to enjoy sex a lot with my vagina, and I absolutely love having orgasms. So I'll probably update in the future on that as well, if once I'm recovered enough to be able to experiment again, what happens with that. And if anybody has any questions on recovery stuff, if you see this, go right ahead and ask, as long as you're not obviously being rude or obviously being insensitive. You can be as candid as you want with your questions. I don't care how invasive, as long as you are being respectful. That's all I ask. So yeah, whenever this goes up, it will be up, and I hope this helps somebody somewhere. Again, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask. Just be respectful. See y'all later.